Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Real Women, Real Purpose talk show live in the On Purpose Woman Global Community Group here on Facebook. I'm Ginny Robertson, one of the hosts of the Real Women, Real Purpose talk show, and I'm also the founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and the founder and publisher of the On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm here today with my co-host of the Real Women, Real Purpose talk show, Kathryn Yarborough. So, Kathryn, tell our audience a little bit about you.
So hello, everyone. In addition to being the co-host of the Real Women, Real Purpose talk show, which means that I sometimes do interviews with the amazing on-purpose women who want to share their message with our community, I'm also part of the On-Purpose Woman community in that I'm the uh, creative director of the On-Purpose Woman magazine. I'm a co-leader in our Facebook group, and I run Connections Through Conversation online gatherings. And then I have my own business. And my own business is called Manifesting Clients Academy. And I provide training and support for on purpose, heart-based solopreneurs. And I may have to sneeze in just a minute. So we're going to hope that that goes away. And so I mainly work online with my people. I do group classes. I do some online events on Zoom, and I do some private sessions. And I do some programs. Like I just started a couple weeks ago, the Unleash Your Light on Facebook program, which I'm
We've
really
done it.
enjoying. Yeah, thank you, Jenny, for joining that. Yeah.
Thank you for doing it. I'm loving it. And so we decided to have this conversation today about collaboration because, as you just said, we are collaborating on a number of things. And we think we've done some things really well with our collaboration. And we also know that not everybody has had that experience. So we thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about what worked, what we did to make it work, and maybe some of the pitfalls, some of the ups and downs that people might hit when they're doing collaboration. And you mentioned the On Purpose Woman magazine. It's been 2 years now since we made that decision because we did our first issue in January of 2019, but we were working on it in November of 2018. So since we made that decision to collaborate, for those of you who don't know, I had started this magazine probably 15 or 16 years earlier. It was a print publication that was distributed all over Maryland. I'd let it go for a couple of years actually, and then through just some interesting conversations, Kathryn she stepped up and said, well, I'll be the creative director. I'll make it look beautiful. I'll design it and put everything together, which is exactly what
Wait a minute.
do.
Wait a minute.
Am I not remembering that correctly?
I never said I'll make it look beautiful. I'm always amazed that it actually looks as beautiful as it does.
I'm just looking at current. Yeah.
Here's the way it went. I said you could do it online. She went and checked out with her old person, and then came back to me. The other person is doing other things now, and she said, "Well, I know you can do a magazine. You've done it before because I did a few years ago. It was one of my many skill sets. You know, we all have a variety of skill sets, and it's always amazing when they come into play. I had learned how to create an online magazine, and she said, why don't you try it? And I said, okay.
It is really the way it happened, I know.
Yeah, and then it came out, and it actually really looks nice. I mean, yeah, I love that you say it looks beautiful. It is a beautiful magazine.
And the one that you did looked beautiful, so I just assumed that this one would too, you know. So yeah, but that is what happened. You were encouraging me to do an online magazine, and look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Much like you encouraged me to do Zoom meetings and all of that. So I do have you to thank for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting that when we step up in our communities that we're a part of, sometimes those community leaders actually are grateful for our support, and a collaborative experience can come out of that. Mm-hmm. So I want to say a couple of things. Prior to all the stuff that we've been doing, Jenny, my experience with collaboration was not great. Mm-hmm. In fact, anytime anybody said to me, probably 10 years prior to our working together, hey, you want to do a workshop together? You want to do this? My first answer was no. Because I've had experiences. And while on the one hand, you know, there's this learning, there's all this, in my experience, there's so much negotiation that needs to happen for a collaboration to work. And there's all this back and forth. And I can just feel the feeling inside. I just go, no, I do not want to do that. So I've been personally amazed and delighted with our work together. And I'm just going to say one more thing because I know you want to say something. Yesterday we had a conversation getting ready for this conversation,
Mhm.
and I left there thinking to myself, well, okay, let me explore more about what I want as we move forward into 2021 for our collaboration. And I feel like I'm stepping into a whole nother level of collaboration with you because I'm stepping up to the plate even more. So there was another thought there, but I've lost it because I just feel like you have something you want to say.
Oh, I always have something to say, but I want to respond to what you just said because I didn't know you were going to say that. And what I really loved, we had a meeting about our collaboration meeting. So we were talking about how we were going to do the show today. And since we're doing it based on collaboration, we started talking about our own, and then some new things came out. And I left there feeling more inspired and more committed myself. And I think that's one of the things I've most gotten out of collaborating with you is the inspiration. We come together and we each will have an idea and bounce it off each other. Because sometimes I can just sit there for days and I'll come up with the right word for something, and we've done that with titles for these shows. One day we spent, I think, 4 hours on Zoom, but we knocked out all these great titles and descriptions. That would have taken me a day by myself, I think.
Mm.
And so I guess, I don't know if you really answered this or I didn't ask you, but maybe why did you say yes? What did you see as in it for you?
Oh, well, my first yes was actually when we decided to do the connections through conversation
Mhm.
online gatherings because I really wanted you to be doing them. Like I didn't want to have to, you can hear my language, I didn't want to have to run my own online gatherings and send out all the links and the reminders and the this and the that. And anybody who knows me knows that I enjoy facilitating events. I just do. And I'm also really good at sending out all those reminders and I can do it. And I do it all for my business. But it got to the point where it was like one more thing. And here's what came to me, Ginny, about it is, and what kept coming to me and had been coming for years is that's your business. Your business is creating gatherings for people to connect. And so why aren't you doing it online? That's how I was thinking. I can still feel the feeling
Mhm.
inside of myself. Well, why aren't you doing it online, Jenny? You're just doing it in person. Well, what about those of us who aren't there anymore? Do something for us. So anyway, I think I originally probably joined you in doing that to support you and being able to do it. And of course, then it just went from there.
Mhm.
I've had so much fun. I got off of the call yesterday too, feeling like, wow, this is just fun. And it's fun to talk to somebody. And we're solopreneurs, so we
Yeah.
don't have other people that we're talking to a whole lot. So one of the benefits for me that's come out of the last 3 years or so is, and why I think I'm re-upping for 2021 in maybe even a bigger way, is that it's fun. It's pleasurable to be in a supportive relationship with someone else
Mhm. Yeah.
that's a win-win-win because it's not just useful for you and me, it's useful for our clients, yours,
Right.
mine, and ours.
Right. Yours, mine. I
Gosh,
think there was a movie
I
about
think there was.
it's a blended family. We're a blended family, Kathryn.
It sort of seems that way in a sort of
Yeah.
kind of weird way, but yeah.
Yeah. But I really appreciate that. And what I also appreciate is, how long did it take for me to say yes to doing something online? Because I had this real negative kind of thing. I'm an in-person person. And I was just telling someone at my Zoom meeting yesterday that I was so grateful to you for kind of pushing me in that direction. I think I was afraid of the technology. You knew how to do that. It just, and so once again, you brought a skill set that I didn't have and that I needed to do that. And how grateful I am that when COVID hit and I had to stop everything, that I was in that place of pivoting kind of seamlessly because we'd already been doing it some and just went right into online meetings, whereas other people were scrambling trying to figure out what they were going to do. So that's, I guess, if I had to come up with the greatest reason I see to collaborate is that we bring our gifts to the table of what we're each good at. And because I know there are things that I'm not good at that I never want to learn to be good at
Mhm.
because they're not mine to do. So we each bring our best stuff to the table. And I want to go back to a minute to what you said about how you said no to collaboration so many times. And over the years, I know so many people, and I would get these emails sometimes from somebody I hadn't even met yet. I think we should talk about how we might work together. But didn't even want to do like workshops with people I thought were good because it was so much work. I could just go in and do my own thing. And that way, if I decide I want to go down this lane, I can go down that lane. And, but then you and I managed to do a full day event where we did that dance and kept trading it off. And it just went beautifully. And I guess I want to throw out here now that I think what works, what continues to work is that we're really clear on our roles. We're really clear on, but yet we're not so rigid in the roles that there's not any room to flow back and forth. And I felt like that day that we did the Be on Purpose Day in person, it was this dance that I finished, you came up, and I might not have even done exactly what you thought I was going to do, but it didn't matter because we were, we could still have our own thing and yet it fit into the full day. Am I making sense?
Yeah, so there's a couple things to say about that. First of all, listeners, Ginny and I are in conversation to do another Be on Purpose Day in 2021 that will likely be on Zoom. And we have not scheduled it yet, but it's not going to be in the early part because in March, we are doing a party networking gathering. What are we calling that, Ginny? I forget.
A day of celebration and connection.
Day of celebration and connection.
And learning.
And learning. So it's going to be 4 hours, right? It's sort of networking, sort of a conference, sort of a celebration, all those things in there. So we're going to be, if you join us for that, which we're going to tell you more, not today, we do have a date. So Ginny, while you're looking for the date, so we can tell y'all to save the date and the time, I'm just going to say this, you'll get to see us do that dance that Ginny's referring to, because we do it just like you're seeing it here. Ginny and I just do this dance beautifully. And I go to events, so I'm very aware when it's one person who's running the show, what that feels like. And when there's two, how are they doing that dance? And if you've been to workshops and conferences and events and seen more than one person as the leader, facilitator, it's so cool when they dance well together, and it's so uncomfortable when they don't, right? So anyway, we're going to be doing that in March. We're going to have this party to celebrate the On Purpose Woman community. Did you find the date?
I didn't. I thought I had it on into my calendar, but it is in the magazine.
I'll look for it in just a minute but I want to say a couple more points. One is that I think one of the things we do really well is that we're respectful. I respect you and you respect me. I mean, I feel very honored by you. Like there's just this presence of honoring. And there's a level of trust. And I think that comes from the fact that we've known each other since 2001. I went to an On Purpose Woman meeting for the first time in 2001, and we've known each other since then and have built a relationship. So I think that when someone comes in and they've never even talked to you and they want to do something with you, it's like, are you serious? Now, that being said, I had a woman just last month reach out to me, or a few weeks ago reach out to me and say, hey, I'm doing this event, will you share it with your people? And she had been in my New Women Loving Life group and posted a few times, so I knew her presence and I knew a little bit about her, but I didn't know her from Adam, and I said yes. Now, that's very different than the amount of dancing we're doing together.
Right.
Getting the message out, helping her get the message out and doing the program with her. But anyway, so there's this respect that we have that I think is part of what we're doing. So
yeah. And I think I'm being real. I think I'm remembering correctly, maybe is what I should say, when I can say that in the years since we've started doing anything together, that we've never really had an argument. We've discussed some things that aren't working, some things that could work better and things like that, but we've never gotten like angry that somebody didn't, you know what I mean? At least I haven't. We didn't do it in each other's presence, at least. We didn't argue about stuff because I think things were so laid out ahead of time. Right. And there, like you say, there was that respect. So if there was anything, that we would handle it in a different way rather than just blow up or, have all that kind of crazy drama and stuff. Because I have seen friendships end
Right.
over collaborations kind of gone sour. And it's really sad when that happens. And I think sometimes it's just because there's just not enough clarity at the beginning
Mhm.
of what the expectations are, because we could go in with completely different expectations of the outcome or what the other person's going to do. And if the resentment starts to kick in and it's not addressed, then it can just really go off the rails. So I feel really fortunate that we've been able, and people have actually told me that they see us kind of modeling that, especially if we're doing something online at the same time, even if it's, my meeting and you're there, we still can do that like kind of fun dance where it's so obvious that you're supporting the meeting, even though, you're there as a participant. And I feel the same way I feel the same way when I'm in your classes, that or in your groups, and I'm also there as a bit of a different person than just a regular participant. I'm there to kind of help your group kind of grow a little bit and things like that. So in fact, I just invited like 20 more of my friends to your group today. So it's that interweaving. And I think it leads to a great thing also about how do people keep their autonomy of their individual businesses? Because that really wasn't an issue for you, because I wasn't stepping into your space and saying I'm doing, some manifesting clients workshops or anything like that. And I remember, a few times just kind of getting that little like glitch that says, "Ooh, but that's me, that's my thing." And what I know is that we've done things together that I could not have done alone. And that's another huge point of collaboration, is that we are better together on some things. Again, the skill sets are different, but we have, we've expanded, we've doubled our reach to people because we have different databases. We know different people. But I think bigger than that is this, I had to let go of some stuff. I had to let go of this illusion of, well, if you start doing that, and when you started doing the connections through conversations by yourself, when you made that an option, I said, I'm okay with that. And I never once went, God, I hope Kathryn's over there representing me well, And it was just, but I had to let go of some old ideas about losing but I'm Ginny Robertson, and this is my, and it's like, I'm still Ginny Robertson. I've still got this community. It didn't go anywhere. It's just bigger and better because of the collaboration. So I think, again, that's something you have to be real clear about, if I've got ownership issues around my stuff, then, that's a conversation that needs to be had before you go into those collaborative endeavors, but I work through that. So.
And it's interesting because my side of it is different, because I am stepping more into your business, and what about my business? So if I'm representing your business, what about my business? So that's an interesting dance on my side, and I still think I'm figuring it out. I don't think I'm an expert at that piece yet. Like, how can I really support the On Purpose Woman community as much as possible and do the work that I'm here to do with the Manifesting Clients Academy and the Moving Sidewalk movement and all that I'm doing with mine. So I think 2021 is going to be an interesting year for me with regard to that particular piece. And I've said to you before, well, these are things that I think you should be doing because this is your business. And we've talked about it. Like yesterday, we talked about me saying, let's have more meetings. And because I think if we do, this is what could happen. And me stepping up to that, it's an interesting inner experience. And so the collaboration dance, I think that if two people are adults, the more the two people who are adults have worked out their stuff and they're good within themselves, the easier it is to be able to name those little things that come up.
Absolutely.
And the sooner we can name them and be conscious and have a conscious conversation, if it needs to be a dialogue, great. I remember one of my first collaborations, I wanted to have a conscious conversation about all of my issues in our partnership. I did this workshop series with this woman, and she was like, Kathryn, get the heck away.
I'm not your therapist, Kathryn.
Well, I don't know what. I don't know. It was like, she didn't want to work through everything. I mean, my buttons were pushed and all over the place. So Um, so so yeah, so anyway, I think this is just a very interesting thing, but I've grown up a lot, so I don't feel I work out, if there is anything, which there really hasn't been, I mean, most
Yeah.
of it's like, well, that's Jenny, and I love Jenny, so she's awesome.
And there are things that maybe could have gotten to that place if we weren't grown-ups and didn't like ask a question or clarify something, but I think that's, that old transactional analysis stuff where you have to have two adults having adult to adult conversations. Because if it's ever parent child or child or parent parent, I love that. That's so simple. That stuff from back in the day is so simple, but it works all the time, doesn't it? I
Yeah.
really like that a lot. I was going to start with this, but I think it's still a good place to jump to right now.
Okay.
Could you go back to the magazine for a minute? And our second issue in February of 2019, and I encourage anybody who hasn't seen our magazine to go over there and look on purposewomanmagazine.com. You can also go down and look at all the past issues. There's a beautiful cover in the February issue by this amazing artist who's quite well known out there named Melissa Harris. And Melissa titled this painting that she graced our cover with Collaboration. And I thought it was interesting because it was two women in these flowy gowns. One was playing kind of a drum and one was playing what looked like maybe a mandolin in a forest with a fire. And I'm thinking collaboration, and I thought, well, I'm going to write an article on collaboration because I was doing these series of articles of on purpose women, certain characteristics. And I think that women who are living on purpose collaborate when it resonates, when it works. So I looked up the official definition of collaborate. And I'm going to read it because the official definition is to work jointly with others or together, especially in an intellectual endeavor. And some synonyms for collaborate are cooperate, join, team up, unite, band together. And they felt accurate, but that wasn't what I saw these women doing on the cover of the magazine. There was something very different. And I started to feel like there was something missing from that definition that we as on purpose women are feeling and thinking when we talk about collaboration. And so Melissa had actually done a description of the painting that she sent to me. And her description is, let's see, explore and enjoy the magic of creation with another. Let your combined energies guide you. And when I read that, I thought that's the difference. Create together, let your combined energies guide you. That is so much bigger than intellectual endeavors because that just makes me kind of want to go, ugh, this isn't about our heads, only our heads. It's about our hearts and our souls and all of that coming together. So to me, that was the major difference. And I think maybe if more women would start to look at it from that perspective a bit, how's this resonating with my purpose, with my soul, with my heart? Does it feel right? Not how much money am I going to make from it? Because I've gone into things, I don't think you probably had this experience of going into things because the bottom line was so attractive without even looking to see if it was going to be something I could be proud of even. And I messed up. I burned myself and burned the town down. You know what I mean? So what do you think about that?
Well, I wanted to share, I asked some people on Facebook about their experience with collaboration. I wanted to read this. This woman said, I was taken both financially and emotionally in a collaboration, so I tend to shy away from them. If I collaborate again, I will have some written agreements and fully trust the other person. So this thing of, if we're not really tuned in to all levels of our being in those initial conversations and just looking at it from some angle, we can make a choice and join and say yes to a collaboration that isn't in the highest interest for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I totally love this. Let your combined energies guide you. Wow. I feel like that's what we do and that's why I want to meet more often, Jenny. Okay. Because when we meet we combine our energy. and then it guides us collectively for the good of all. Because I think so thank you for sharing all that. And I think that one of the benefits that I've seen recently, a few months ago, we started these Real Women, Real Purpose talk show interview opportunities, and we did a special promotion, and I reached out to a lot of my clients, and several of them said yes. And people who were in my world and weren't necessarily clients, they said yes too, to be seen, to be heard, to put ads in the magazine and come forth and be interviewed. And that just feels so good to me that we put that piece in place. And now I'm seeing some of those people as members in the On Purpose Woman community speaking or doing their 5 minutes, or they're doing a 20-minute presentation. And I'm like, yeah, this is why this is here. This is why we're doing this, because there's this added benefit for my people.
And I think when we do come together in those discussions and our creative energies kind of merge and guide us, I take it back to those aspects of my business that we don't share. I take it back, and hopefully you do too, that energy kind of get inspired in other ways, because we've had this sort of meeting of the minds and the souls or something that says, oh God, I hadn't even thought of that. I mean, how many times have you said something? I used to kind of tease you a bit about, oh God, Kathryn, I don't want another meeting, because every time we meet, I have something new to do. You have some new idea for me. And part of it was true. There was this little bit of truth that said, oh God, how much more do I want to add here? But the bigger part was, I was really excited because you that's one of your gifts, is you can look. That's why you coach people in business, because you can look across the table and say, have you thought about doing that? Or with me, you'll say, here's what I think you should do. Or you can do it if you want to, then you'll add that. But you can see things that I can't see, because I've got blind spots sometimes, as I think we all do. But that's, again, one of your gifts, that you can see what I'm not always able to see. And it doesn't always resonate, but I always take it under advisement to see, oh, there might be something here for me. Let me, or it's tabled for another time, So I think that's really one of the big wins for me in doing this collaboration, has been the opportunity to expand, people, opportunities, ways that I show up in the world without having to do it alone, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I was journaling this morning about why we're collaborating. If I did, I apologize. But why I'm re-upping for, not that we were in the conversation of not doing it, but something happened yesterday. Like, I'm stepping into a bigger, and part of it's because it's fun to talk with someone. I know I talked about that earlier, but there's something really wonderful about coming together with somebody for the benefit of our collaborative work, your individual work, my individual work, and us. And I'm getting this. We're combining our energies, and it's good for the world. I think we're doing something that's good for the world, Jenny. So I got the date for us. Okay.
Great.
Our party conference, that's not a conference, that's learning and networking, is March 20th. It's the 21st birthday of the On Purpose Woman community, March 20th. And I think it's a Saturday. I'll check again. 11 to 4 Eastern. Yes, it's Saturday. It's 11 to 4 Eastern, which means 8 to 1 Pacific. So mark your calendars, March 20th. You don't want to miss this gathering. There will be a not too pricey fee, under $50, I believe, is what we were talking about. So plan on that. I don't want you to think it's free, but it's not going to cost you, a new refrigerator.
Right. So anything else? Let's see. I think there's a couple of practical things I just want to throw out there that I know you and I did ahead of time, that maybe some people won't. And that's what happens, is how to, whose job is what, and how, what do you do with the money? That's an important thing. And sometimes people, if they get burned because they didn't have that agreement in place, but it doesn't always matter if you have an agreement in place if you're with an untrustworthy person. that's just a whole other level. And that whole idea of autonomy, I think, is really important too, that we already talked about that a little bit, but the autonomy, but also, for me personally, just having to, be really clear and okay with that I was willing to kind of share the billing, if you will. And I'm talking about the billing, like on the marquee, do I want somebody else to be with my logo? Do I want somebody, do you know what I mean? And
Oh yeah, I mean, we've got me in your Facebook group. I'm on the top. We're
right,
co-leaders in
right.
the Facebook group. That's a big deal. I get that.
Yeah. And there was, once I decided it would work, I never went back and said, oh, I've never had those internal, like, yucky feelings that say, oh, Kathryn's doing too much. She shouldn't be doing that over there, because we got clear in the beginning of what that would look like. And again, I can't say this enough. What I want to go back to is, I don't know that I would have, I'm actually sure that I wouldn't have done some of the things that we're doing in that group if it were on me,
Mm.
as this one person. And it's not just the division of labor, it's again the division of energy, and the combined energies of feeling excited about it and about the outcome and about watching the women in the group kind of grow, and show up. And I mean, I'm seeing some of the women in your group doing Facebook Lives that a year ago wouldn't have even be seen on Zoom probably, and so it's just a really cool thing that it's bigger. The collective we is bigger than the individual you and me. And that's what we did here. And it is for the greater good. We're a force for good.
We're a force for good. And
Yes,
that's the motto of the magazine. And I think this is so great that we decided to have this conversation because folks, we've already talked about, Jenny and I are going to meet in December and we're going to be having more conversations. So look out, world.
Look out. We're going to have some cool new stuff for you to do probably. So yeah.
At the very minimum, we'll be doing what we're already doing even better because we're going to combine our energies and see what is being asked of us. That's what we both do. We tune into something bigger.
It is.
Very cool, Jenny. I'm grateful.
So I feel pretty complete with this conversation. How about you?
Yes, I don't know that you heard the last thing that I said. I said I'm grateful to you.
I didn't hear that. Thank you. I'm really grateful to you too. And I'm not just saying that like I love you too. I'm not, it's just, I am. I really am, feel very blessed. You're in my gratitude journal from time to time when I do my gratitude. In fact, I think this week you were there. I know you were. Yeah. So we have a mutual admiration society here. So yeah. I guess so we don't lose everybody watching while we gush over each other. I'll close out now. And I want to thank everybody.
Before you close out, Jenny, just excuse me 1 second. For those of you who are watching us all the way to the end, share in the comments below. Share something you got out of what we've said. Share a thought that's popped into your head about collaboration, a question you might have for either one of us or for the world. Jenny and I know what we know, but the greater world knows even more. Share. There was something else that I wanted to say about what you could share. My brain's gone. I wanted to say something about what you're noticing with our collaboration. If you are noticing, I think that's what I wanted to say. So anyway, tell us, speak in the comments below. I love to read what you have to say about what we're talking about here in the Real Women, Real Purpose Talk Show. Back to you, Jenny.
Thank you. And thanks for coming up with that. It's great. So I want to thank all of you for being here with us for the Real Women, Real Purpose Talk Show. And if you love this interview and you want to share it with people, you can go over in a couple of days to our YouTube channel, which is the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Go into YouTube, type in On Purpose Woman Global Community, it will pop up. There's already a lot of great interviews there, interviews that will inspire you, that will educate you, that will make you feel good, that will just help you through maybe something you're going through. You just don't know. So go over there and check out those interviews and see what resonates with you. And let's see what else I want to say about that. Oh, I've got another interview. I'm doing an interview this week with Julia Mattis. This is on Thursday. Julia has been a very successful real estate agent in Maryland for 30 years. And we're going to be talking about lessons that she has learned over 30 years in business. Not real estate lessons, but life and business lessons. So I think anyone who's in business or is alive Could probably get something from this interview because she's a very wise, talented woman. And I'm looking forward to that. These interviews are always in the On Purpose Woman Global Community Group on Facebook at 2 p.m. Eastern. Also, Kathryn and I will be back together doing our little show next month on December the 15th. And I'm really looking forward to that topic. We're going to be talking about white privilege from our perspectives as white women, which is actually the only perspective we can talk about it from. So I'm excited about that. I think it's a conversation that I've been wanting to have in public. I've had some in private, but I haven't had many in public. And would appreciate any feedback you all have for us about that conversation. And come and watch it. Even though we can't see you because we're not right there in the group right now, we're in Zoom, we still know you're there. And so we feel your energy. So we're really happy that you're here with us. And I want to thank you again for watching. Don't forget onpurposewomanmagazine.com to see all that stuff we were talking about today with the February 2019 issue on collaboration. Thank you again. I'm Ginny Robertson with my co-host,
Kathryn Yarborough.
Kathryn Yarborough. And we thank you for being with us. Bye, y'all.